Okay, Christina here to listen to some music, and today's music selection is Wood by Alice in Chains. So I have heard of Alice in Chains. They were popular in the small window of time, like late 80s, early 90s, where I started listening to some popular music. That was right before I got into the classical music world and sort of never looked back. So I did get into a little bit of grunge. I know they're grunge, and actually I just learned that they're actually from Seattle. So like the true birth of grunge in Seattle. I didn't realize that before. But they were just sort of a little too heavy, like heavy metal grunge for me back then. I just didn't really have any interest in getting to know them or listening to them. And believe me, that's my fault. But that's why I'm here right now, correcting this, because I do want to get to know this band. Finally give them a chance. So, Wood was the winner of the Alice in Chains poll over on Patreon and for channel members. So here we are. I'm going to give them a chance. And why exactly am I giving them a chance? What are we doing here? I am a professional classically trained musician, instrumentalist, vocalist, composer, and professor. So I dive into all different aspects of the music, how it was composed, all the instruments that are used, and how we connect with it. Why do we like it, or why do we not like it? So, without any further delay, let's listen. Okay, here we go. Okay, well, first of all, yeah, this is some classic grunge. Okay, and I was right. It is a little heavier somehow. There's just something sort of more electric, distant, but that distance is almost kind of troubling. So yeah, I can see why maybe I was sort of intimidated by this back in the day. It's not necessarily like sinister. It's just more serious. But upon close observation here, it's very multi-layered, and every layer is just really intense. So the percussion, that was actually kind of amazing. The like I heard all the cymbal crashes, and then there was this just dum da 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 da. It's almost like a distorted heartbeat. It just sort of makes you feel anxious right away. And the sound of the bass, it's very metallic, which seems like a basic term because we're talking about heavy metal, but it's very metallic. It's not as round as sometimes we want a bass line to be. It's very secco, very dry. But at the same time, it's mixed in with all of this resonance. And so that's almost what throws you off a little bit, is that there's this space, this distance in there. And you're just kind of waiting for it to be filled. And they don't completely fill it. They did a little bit in the chorus. When the chorus hit, I think it sort of became a grand picture. But until then, it was a little creepy, uncomfortable, but just really cool at the same time. So yeah, I should mention that I do kind of recognize some of the melody. I'm sure this was on the radio. It's just faintly familiar. But the grunge sound in general, I definitely recognize. And I also recognize the lead singer's voice. And he has a great voice. It's very unique, and it has a really interesting vibrato. Has a little bit of the vocal fry in there, the grumbliness. And there's also something in the way he pronounces all the words. But I'm not quite able to put my finger on it yet. Let's keep listening. Okay, something changed there. What was that? That is an unusual place to have a change. It's really late in a song to have such a change. Like that much of a change. Wow. Okay. Well, there's just a lot going on here. Okay. Drums are still fantastic. Bass line still fantastic. The guitar solo was a little bit simplistic, but that's not a bad thing, because if you do a simplistic line well, then that musicality really shines. It takes a lot of confidence to be able to do that. And I love how the guitar and the lead vocalist play off of one another. Okay, more about the lead vocalist. Just wow. He's almost like jazz, R&B. He's got riffs in there where he's just all over the notes, not just singing one melody line, but just like all over. And he seems to do it effortlessly and still like using this chest voice. And that, again, that vocal fry, that grumbliness is there. And I hope he cared well for his voice. That's hard on a voice sometimes. But that, it's just a lot of good vocal control. He hits every one of those notes, and I don't think that they used auto-tune back then. So, I mean, he's doing this, and you can tell he does it, like I said, effortlessly. And then he uses that vibrato. It's a wide, almost operatic vibrato. Oh, okay. And so then the creepiness, how the lead vocals slowly came in. Oh my goodness. And then they're playing with the form. So at the beginning of this little middle section that I just listened to, it was that intro before the vocals came back in. And the vocals didn't come in right away. It made you wait. So there's that space, that distance that I was talking about. Like you're wanting the voice to come back in, and it makes you wait. Okay. So I'm going to back this up a little bit so we really cleanly get in to this ending. Oh my goodness. All right, I can't wait to hear what's going to happen. Here we go. So I made a big mistake, trying to see it was my way. Am I wrong? Am I run too far to get home? Well, that was an interesting ending. I often talk about the endings of songs because it's difficult to end songs. That is definitely a unique ending. Very, very unusual form. Because we had an entire song for like 3/4 of the song. Verse, chorus, with a little instrumental solo in the middle. And then you just think it's going to go back to another verse, chorus, and then wrap it up, fade out or come to a cadence and stop. But no, we had a whole new section with a modulation to a new key, and it was bouncing back and forth between major and minor. At first you're thinking, oh, okay, we're feeling a little bit better, a little happier with a little bit of a sort of a major key, but then it shifted back and, you're maybe a little confused. Okay, and then I was thinking, oh, okay, is the original stuff going to come back? Maybe just a hint of it, maybe, but no. Then we have this exclamation at the end. So the song is the word would, W-O-U-L-D, question mark. I absolutely see why now. And I'm not even sure what the song means yet. I'm going to look at the lyrics in just a second. But the question mark, this absolutely ended with a question mark. So musically, that ending, it's not just the question mark, it's the question. The translation of a question into music. Okay, well, I like that a lot. All right, what was the question? Let's see. Let's go to lyrics. Okay, so from the beginning, know me broken by my master. Teach thee on, child, love of hereafter. That's kind of actually beautiful. Into the flood again. Same old trip it was back then. So I made a big mistake. Try to see it once my way. Okay. Drifting body, its soul desertion, flying not yet, quite the notion. Wow, this is really gripping. Into the flood again. Same old trip it was back then. Great chorus. So I made a big mistake. Try to see it once my way. Yeah, and there. So it's chorus, chorus. Oh, okay. And so, am I wrong? That was what he was singing. Okay, in that new section. Have I run too far to get home? Have I gone and left you here alone? Okay, and what was the last question? If I would, could you? Okay, so I think this is about regrets. And perhaps an existence that's kind of isolated because of that, whether they've been cast out or they're just feeling so much guilt themselves. Well, that's actually kind of beautiful. I'm impressed. And for me, this really adds a lot to the musical experience. I often experience music and the words sometimes get left behind. Just that's the way my brain works, but also that's my training, is to listen to the instruments. And I have to admit that I couldn't completely understand what the words were because of the space and the distance, that resonance. Some of the words were not coming out clearly. Like I couldn't at all really understand what that last question was. But if I would, could you? Well, I'm going to have to go back and listen to that question again. I want to hear those words. Okay. I'm really starting to like this, y'all. Okay, I want to hear it again. Here we go. That, the if I would, that right there. I love that. because the line does something different than what you expect it to do. It's that little turn. Let's hear it again. Yeah, so you just want it to go la 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 la, but it doesn't. Bum 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 bum. It goes back up. There's the question mark. Brilliant? Maybe. Okay, let's hear the spaciousness of the beginning. Starts with that awesome bass. The guitar is kind of in its own universe. Okay. And even that key change right there, it's almost establishing a different key at the beginning, and then we shift somewhere else. Let's hear that again. It's almost in a major key, but then we go there. Love that little trick. You hear that heartbeat? Very, very cool. So I love how the instruments really play along with the vocals. He's not just the lead vocals. He uses his voice like one of the instruments. I love when a band can do that, utilize their lead vocalist in that manner. And I definitely heard that play. Let's see if I can find one spot where the drums sort of imitated the vocals. So the vocals, it's like, am I gone? You know, that kind of sort of a scooping downward scale. And right around at the same time, you hear the drums go, not just the normal, brum, bum, ba-da, not that kind of thing. It was more like another cascade. You heard it in there. Let's hear it again. That's where he does it. Now wait for the drums. That little tumble down. That's the different musicians taking cues from one another and sort of building their own building blocks for the construction of their music. Okay, and there's also one thing harmonically that I wanted to go back to. Some of the harmonies in the vocals. Let's see if we can find it. Oh, this is where they have us waiting for the vocals to come back in. See, it should come in there, but it doesn't. It makes you wait. It's really uncomfortable. That harmony. There it is. So that's a perfect fifth, which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect fifth. And then it goes down in what we call a parallel fifth. Like that. That's actually a big no-no in classical writing. Now maybe you can see why. Because it's sort of uncomfortable, jarring. And in a classical setting, it can sort of take away from the organization and the smoothness of the melody. But here, that's just what you want. Let's hear that again. Nice, and the harmony's kind of even echoier. Nice. And the guitars are actually kind of going in the opposite direction. They're kind of going da da dum bum. They're going up and the voices are going down, and we have this clash. Woo. Okay. Well, that was pretty awesome. Okay. That was Wood by Alice in Chains. And I loved it. I did. I loved this. And I do feel kind of silly for not giving it a chance when I was a kid. And that's okay. It's okay to be okay. But now I can really appreciate this a lot. For me, as the classical musician, the composer, there is so much here that is so fulfilling. And I would not have guessed that. Why? It's my own personal bias. But now I know. Are all of their songs this way, though? Are they all constructed this uniquely? Well, if they are, great. Bring it on. This was just the first place winner for the Alice in Chains poll, and we've got at least 2 more or so that I'll get through. Like I try to do at least the first 3 place winners in the polls. But okay, the lyrics were beautiful. The construction was so clever. The talent of the musicians was present and obvious. Yeah, I'm hooked. So, is this going on my playlist? Yes, absolutely. As soon as possible. I honestly wasn't expecting this. Again, that's my own silly bias, but here we are. But that is kind of what I was looking for with some experiences here on the channel. Am I getting a little emotional about this? Maybe so. It's a lot of years with the wrong assumption about some music, so, well, I'm here to learn. And this was a good lesson. All right, so don't forget to do all the things, like and subscribe. You can find me on Patreon, support the channel on Ko-fi, become a channel member. You can go to Throne, support the channel there as well. And as always, just remember that you don't have to be perfect, just be okay. And keep listening.